I'll go ahead and start off with a general overview of the natural resource that I chose, which is Trona. It is a sodium carbonate compound that is processed into soda ash, or baking soda as it is commonly known to the public. What's cool is Wyoming has the world's largest deposit of Trona, supplying about 90% of the nation's soda ash. And this mineral is Wyoming our top export and is shipped to markets around the globe. Wyoming mines produce over 17 million tons of Trona and employs over 2,000 people, and that was based off of 2018. So that was 2 years ago, so it's only grown since then. Glass is making about half of the soda ash, followed by the chemical industry, which uses about a quarter of the output. So glass is a big product of it. Other uses include soap, paper manufacturing, and water treatment. And all baking soda comes from soda ash, which means that we probably have a box of Wyoming Trona product in our kitchen right now. And at the current rate of operation, Wyoming's Trona reserves will last over 2,000 years. So it's nothing that is an immediate worry of depletion. So next I'll kind of talk about like how do we get it in the research that I did. All Trona is mined underground and then processed into soda ash or baking soda. And an underground Trona mine is like an underground city. There are maintenance shops, bathrooms, electricity lines, and streets. Most Trona is mined through a room and pillar system where a series of parallel drifts are driven. Connections are made between the drifts at regular intervals, which creates a checkerboard pattern of rooms and pillars. The pillars are left to support the overlying rock, and the mineral is then cut from the mining surface and processed. The purification process begins with crushing the ore, which is then heated to drive off unwanted gas. This transforms the Trona into sodium carbonate. Water is added to the substance, which is then filtered to remove impurities. The water is evaporated and the resulting slurry is placed into a centrifuge to separate the remaining water from the soda ash crystals. And the crystals are then sent to dryers, screened, and sent to storage bins for transport. And then next I'll kind of talk about machines used. There are two primary methods of mining Trona, longwall mining and the more common room and pillar method as mentioned above. Longwall mining involves dividing the seam into rectangular panels or blocks and cutting drifts along the sides of the blocks for material transport and ventilation. A crosscut connects the parallel drifts along which the longwall cutter is installed. As the cutter moves back and forth, the ore is transported away by a conveyor system. The second and most common method of mining Trona is the room and pillar technique. There are two different types of machinery used with this technique, a continuous miner, also used in coal mining, and a bore miner. With the room and pillar process, a series of parallel drifts are cut at regular intervals, which are carefully surveyed and measured. What are called continuous bore miners cut out the rooms of Trona ore, leaving roughly equally sized pillars behind for support. Once the Trona has been removed, it is crushed and transported to the surface and processed into soda ash. And then a little bit about the area occupied is the history of it is there was a large freshwater lake. It was called Lake Gazut or something like that. And it covered an estimate 15,000 square miles in a basin in western Wyoming. The lake was fairly shallow and evaporated rapidly and repeatedly, creating a climate that changed back and forth between humid and arid, trapping the once abundant life. All the minerals and mud settled to the bottom of the lake, and sodium, alkaline, and bicarbonate were transported to the lake by runoff water. The mixture of all these elements formed the Trona deposits we mine today. And there's a large Trona deposit that we have today, and it's found in Green River, and it has a formation with 42 beds that cover over 1,300 square miles. So that is the research and information I found on my own about Trona ash. And up next, I will interview somebody who works at one of the mines and at the longwall and get his experience. So that'll be part 2.